The Athletics' Dianna Russini on multiple occasions now, and she did tweeted it again this morning, that the Falcons are one of the NFC South teams that do have interest in Bill Belichick. We briefly talked it at the top of the show with Myles Garrett. If you missed it, go check it out on our YouTube at Sports Talk ATL. What are your thoughts on Bill Belichick potentially being the next head coach of the Atlanta Falcons, Alex?
I hate it. I absolutely hate it. I think I just made up my mind while you were still asking that question. I think I'm going to dig my feet in on this one. I absolutely hate it. It feels like it's a desperation move by Blank to salvage the twilight years of his life and potentially try and get a Super Bowl, and it's just not going to happen. He is the greatest coach of all time. I don't want to take anything away from him. He's chasing Don Shula for the most wins in NFL history, 6 or 7 Super Bowls, I think 8 or 9 as a coach in general, because he had some with the Giants. There's no questioning his resume. And I know a lot of people are going to say, no, I don't want him because of the GM side of things. I do think that that's a non-negotiable. I think that if Belichick stays in New England, he's getting rid. He will have that power. Personnel decision-making power will be stripped. And if he comes to Atlanta, he'll have a say, I'm sure, but it won't be autonomy like it has been in New England for the past 20 years. So I think that's a non-negotiable. I just don't like it from a coaching standpoint. Like, Blank is 81 years old, wants to win right now, and I think he's going to, limit his hiring pool by saying, I need somebody proven. I need a proven winner, and he's going to go after somebody like Bill Belichick. And I think it's the wrong move because you're closing off so many potentially great candidates that you're prioritizing 2024 and 2025 at the expense of 6, 7, and 8. So I hate it. I hate everything about it, actually.
Yeah, I think the personnel thing, that's obvious. That's a non-negotiable, as you said. Like, he cannot be allowed to just have full autonomy over the roster like he has in New England. That's totally not been his strong suit. He is a great coach. I don't think there's any doubt about it. I think it's intriguing. I think it brings headlines. I think it brings at least some level of excitement to the team in terms of what to expect and stuff like that. But I agree with you. I mean, you're talking about a coach that how many years does he have left? 3, 4, that many? Does he even have that many? 5, 6? Who knows how long he is going to be coaching? And the Falcons, it's just kind of a wonky fit. I mean, you're talking about a guy who just struggled without a quarterback. Well, what do the Falcons not have? A quarterback. Like, yes, the rest of their roster is pretty good. And if you bring in a young coach with an offensive mind that gets to select his quarterback and develop his quarterback, a guy who's known for developing quarterbacks, like, that seems like a much more, correct direction for the team because, we do want a young quarterback. And if you bring in Belichick, I mean, what are we talking about here? Russell Wilson being the quarterback next year? I mean, is that what we're doing? Like, are we going to try to salvage this like it's 2018, 19? I mean, it just is a wonky fit. Outside of headlines, which is the business that we're in, I just do not see this being a good fit. And you talked about, narrowing the hiring pool for someone experienced to help bring winning. I mean, what have we seen in the NFL over the last 10 years, the last decade? These young coaches, even the Falcons, like Dan Quinn came in his second year, he's in the Super Bowl. Mike Smith came in, immediately had success. So young coaches have just as much success early on. So if that's what he's thinking, we need someone with experience. It doesn't even make sense.
In fact, the recycling of these washed up head coaches has been proven to not work. I mean, the Hugh Jacksons of the world, the Jeff Fishers of the world. How many times did Jeff Fisher get a job and then just go 6-12? The guy was a loser. And I think that the same thing is going to happen for the Falcons if Blank doesn't get out of his own way. I think that, good Lord, Rich McKay and Arthur Blank are going to royally screw this hire up. I have absolutely no faith that they get this right. And it looks like their first guy is going to be Bill Belichick. And worst of all, they trade a couple of first-round picks for him. That's going to be the worst thing.
No, they will not. They cannot do that. I mean, that is the worst thing, but they cannot do that. Like, that cannot be a thing. Like, I'm not trading picks for a head coach, especially one that doesn't know how to develop a quarterback, when that's the number one priority on the list. The number one thing I want my guy coming in to do is to develop a quarterback. Bill Belichick clearly is not. That's not his forte. The defense would look nice, but it would be another 7-10 season and the 8th overall pick. That's what I'm telling you. I hope I'm right there with you. It's interesting, it's intriguing, but come on, let's get real here. This is not what the Falcons need at this stage in their franchise. Coming up after the break, what does the future look like for the underwhelming 4th overall pick in 2021, Kyle Pitts?